USA's Tuesday night fights. For the NABF super middleweight title, the champion, Joseph Chuanuka, the challenger, Thomas Tate. Chuanuka has waited anxiously for this rematch. It was nearly 2 years ago. Joseph Chuanuka, the hot, rising, undefeated middleweight with crunching power. Thomas Tate, the former world title challenger, in his first fight in a year and a half since being crushed in 2 rounds by Roy Jones. And it looked like Tate had reached the other side of the hill. Appeared ready to go in the first round. Not so, said Thomas.
It just knocked me off balance for a second or so, and I got myself back together.
Nothing more serious than that?
No, nothing more serious than that.
On any other night, Chuanuka usually finishes this one off, but not on this night.
I think the problem was because I trained very hard for that fight, and I knew he tried back, move. I looked many rounds, you know, he was there in front of me, you know, but still I can't do it, you know, because I was weak.
After surviving that first round, Tate then in the middle round started to take control, coming on strong as the fight went on, and finishing with a fantastic 12th round. Chuanuka attributing it to dizziness, feeling weak from overtraining. Tate saw it differently.
I got the skills, and I got the knowledge, and I got the know-how.
Joseph Chuanuka wants to erase his only blemish so badly, he's willing to risk his #1 world ranking against his biggest thorn.
I don't know what I'm going to do. They can look at plenty of tapes. Don't make no difference. I'm just, like I said, I'm just thrilled and I'm excited about this fight. They feel as though the first one was a fluke. Well, we'll see.
You know, Tate is a survivor. You know, he moves, you know. So even the first fight, you know, he survived, you know, he survived in that fight, but I don't think he's going to survive in this fight.
Well, a couple years back, and Chuanuka approaches this with retaliation on his mind. He says a lot of things are different tonight. Some of his own doing in that fight, he lost a couple of points being penalized. He says he was weak that night. He was not focused. Tonight, though, he says he is 100% focused on beating Thomas Tate.
All right, let's check out these two fighters. First on the Castro tail of the tape, and you see the advantage Chuanuka has in height and especially in reach. 82-inch reach for a super middleweight for Chuanuka, and it's a 7-inch reach advantage, and he's going to try to keep that extension and keep Thomas right at the end of his punch in this fight. The rules: NABF championship fight. Standing 8 count not in effect. 3 knockdown rule not in effect. You cannot be saved by the bell in the scoring 10-point must scoring system. Now here's the champ and the blackboard.
Brought to you by Meineke Discount Mufflers, the boxing blackboard. Joseph Chuanuka's strengths: he is a real power hitter with explosive punches. He has well-rounded skills. Joseph's weaknesses: he likes to brawl with questionable stamina. And having lost confidence, something not lacking from Thomas Tate. His strengths: boxing his entire life, a smart counterpuncher. He has a good defense. Thomas's weaknesses: he has questionable desire. Only his 3rd fight this year. Inactivity. However, he may have the one style that beats Chuanuka tonight.
We are live from the legendary Blue Horizon here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as Peltz Boxing Promotions and Budweiser, the king of beers, proudly present USA Tuesday Night Fights main event. It's the NABF Super Middleweight Championship. It's approved by the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission, the Honorable George Volchetto, Commissioner, Greg Serb, Executive Director, and is sanctioned by the NABF. Its supervisor in charge and attendance at ringside is Miss Andrea Alcorn of Dallas, Texas. Our judges: Al Morris of Philadelphia, Robert Grasso of Philadelphia, and William Holmes of Cape St. Clair, Maryland. In the ring at this time, the man in charge of the scheduled 12-round NABF Super Middleweight Championship is John Carroll of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And now, my good friends, introducing the principals. First, in the red corner, wearing the white trunks, with the gold trim. He weighed in at 167 1/4 pounds. This veteran pugilist has 32 wins, 5 losses with 23 knockouts. He is ranked #1 by the NABF. Here is the challenger, Thomas Ice T. Tate. And his opponent in the blue corner, wearing the white trunks with the black trim. He weighed in at an even 168 pounds. Now this young man has 25 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws with 19 big knockouts. He is currently ranked #1 by the IBF of the world. He is a native of Uganda and now making his home in Las Vegas, Nevada. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the NABF Super Middleweight Champion, the African Express, Joseph Chuanuka. Chuanuka.
All right, gentlemen, close to your instruction and back. I just want to remind you, no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule, and no saving by the bell in any round. Any questions? Okay, touch them up. Good luck, gentlemen.
And he has won the crowd over here. This is the 5th appearance for Chuanuka at the Blue Horizon. A very personable young man until you have to step in the ring and face him. Ever since the loss to Thomas Tate 2 years ago, Chuanuka actually has taken off. He has won 6 straight, 5 by knockout. He has risen to #1 in the world, and he puts it all on the line to try to make good in his only defeat in his pro career at the hands of Thomas Tate.
And the best way to get a loss off your back is to have a fight and win, and that's just what Joseph Chuanuka has done. But Joseph Chuanuka comes into this fight extremely tight. Look how tense he is in the ring. In comparison, look how loose Thomas Tate is. Tate keeps his hands up. Tate knows the power that Chuanuka possesses. Tate says in the ring, I'm a complete fighter. I know when to fight and I know how to fight.
Well, he remembered what happened in the first round last time they got shaken up by Chuanuka, but Chuanuka, who claimed to overtrain for Chuanuka 2 years ago, he had gone into that fight with a record of 19-0-2. It was a WBU championship fight, so for Chuanuka, it was a belt, and it was very meaningful. Best fighter he had ever faced, Thomas Tate. So he just trained too much, overtrained, he said, in the heat of Las Vegas, running in the heat every day, too long. And when he got into the ring, he said after the first round, felt very busy, very weak, and once he was moving into the middle round, he said all he wanted to do was finish the fight.
Man, Thomas Tate is a good fighter, taking nothing away from him. Look how he's moving away, circling to take the power out of the punches of Chuanuka.
Ironically, Chuanuka, after losing that fight, skyrocketed in his career, and Thomas Tate, after winning that fight, and for him it was a comebacking fight. He hadn't fought in a year and a half after being knocked out in 2 rounds for a world championship shot against Roy Jones. But since that fight, his career has really leveled off. After Chuanuka, he loses to Rocky Gannon, then he loses to Silvio Bronco. And he's come back with a couple of tune-ups against one fighter who's 9-10 and another fighter who, unbelievably, was 0-25. And Tate knocked those 2 fighters out and coming back. But against Gannon, Tate was 174 pounds. Against Bronco, he was 159. He said one fighter he was too heavy for, one was too light. He likes this weight at 168. So finding reasons to justify those 2 losses, but for Tate right now, he needs this win more than he needed it the first time he faced Chuanuka.
Resurrect his career. He comes into this fight with a great attitude. He's very positive, and he believes he has the style to give Chuanuka his 2nd loss.
To confuse Chuanuka. Remember the first fight, Chuanuka had hit low, had a point taken away, hit after the bell, had a point taken away. He is claiming it's because of that weakness, the dizziness, he just wasn't pinpoint, but also could have been frustration with a veteran like Thomas Tate.
Nobody's tougher on motor oil than
the Brook Street Bullies in here for the main event. Joseph Chuanuka, the NABF Super Middleweight Champion, in the white and the black stars on the trunk, and Thomas Tate In the white with the gold trim. Former #1, two-time world title challenger. He faced Roy Jones. He faced Julian Jackson. The world title fights. Stopped by Jones in the second. Against Jackson, Tate went in as a 10-1 underdog. And gave Jackson the scare. Had Jackson in trouble a few times before Julian Jackson went on to defend his title with a 12-round decision over Thomas Tate. Frank Tate.
Yeah, this kid really has been fighting his whole life. He came up with his brother Frank. They went through the amateurs together. He had a great amateur career. Thomas Tate did. 220 wins, only 18 losses. 9-time Michigan State Golden Glove champion. 2-time Ohio State Fair champ. National champion in 1980. Runner-up in '86.